Toro's personal pace mowers are pretty reliable, but when this drive system does need servicing, it may not be all that intuitive. In this video, we'll take a look at an example that suffered a catastrophic failure and lost propulsion completely on one side. We'll go step by step through replacing missing and worn parts, as well as hopefully offer some insight as to what makes this design tick. All this and more right now here on Shop Tales and Lore. When the Toro Personal Pace walk-behind mowers debuted in the late 90s, they offered a somewhat unique experience since, at least at the time, few if any competitors offered a variable speed self-propelled system. We bought this one new nearly 30 years ago, and it's proven itself extremely reliable on everything from a lush suburban lawn to the rocky terrain and tough native grasses of the Texas Hill Country, even getting pressed into service as a miniature brush hog more than once. So when this one suddenly lost its self-propulsion on one side, I really wanted to get it back into action. The fact that this model has a simple, rugged Briggs & Stratton L-head engine with plenty of life left in it motivated me even more to try and save the mower if the drivetrain parts were still available. Briggs dropped these dependable old flatheads from production about 10 years ago, so we try to keep them going whenever we can. The self-propelled mechanism is actuated by this cable that's attached to the operating handle on one end and this gearbox on the other. When the sliding handle is compressed, the gearbox pivots to the rear, tensioning the drive belt coming from the crankshaft. The gearbox pulley spins a bevel and pinion gear arrangement to transfer power to the output shaft. Decreasing downward pressure on the handle results in less tension on the belt, which slows the mower's rate of travel, while releasing the handle lets the spring-loaded gearbox pivot fully forward, disengaging the belt altogether and bringing everything to a stop. In other words, the design achieves its variable speed function through slippage of this belt, as opposed to the continuous engagement of a transmission. Behind each rear wheel, you'll find this plastic cover that's designed to help keep debris away from the output shaft pinion gear and its mating sprocket that is part of the wheel assembly. Once this cover is removed, you should see the pinion gear and its related parts. In our case, we discovered that these parts were missing completely and that part of the protective cover was broken off. It's likely that a rock or some other debris worked its way into this cover and ended up destroying the pinion gear, dislodging its retaining clip and associated small parts to the point that these pieces just fell off the shaft and were lost. We'll leave Amazon links in the description for replacement wheels, pinion gears, and other parts commonly associated with this repair. Just a quick reminder that as an Amazon associate, Shop Tales and Lore earns a small commission on purchases made through these links. There's no additional cost to you, the Amazon customer, and this revenue helps us grow the channel and produce more content. We installed the new parts starting with this specially shaped key, which is designed to rock slightly in its keyway on the output shaft in response to the shaft's rotational force. When this happens, the raised edge of the key engages with one of the slots in the pinion gear, which then drives the wheel. When the handle is released and the output shaft stops turning, this key settles back down into its slot, allowing the mower to be pulled in reverse. Notice that these keys are left and right-handed and can only be installed in one orientation. Later versions of this system added a small spring under the key to help raise the key into positive contact with the pinion gear. Next comes the pinion gear itself. On these early models, this gear is non-handed. In other words, it will fit either the left or right end of the output shaft. Some later models use left and right-handed pinion gears, so be sure to identify your exact model before ordering parts. Now add this thrust washer, which has a special shaped tab that rides in the output shaft keyway. Similar to the rocking key, the longer or pointed end of the tab should face in the same direction that the shaft rotates. Depending on whether you're working on the right or left side of the mower, just flip the washer if necessary to get it in the right orientation. Hey, speaking of handy tips like that one, if you're a serious do-it-yourselfer or home workshop enthusiast looking for a variety of helpful content in one place, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified whenever we release a new video. And if we've helped you today, please take a moment to like, share, and comment below. It helps these videos reach more folks, and your comments help others as well. Thanks again. Finally, install the compression spring and retaining clip. Check to be sure that the spring is contained between the clip and the thrust washer, and that the clip is fully seated in its groove on the end of the shaft. Now the protective gear shield and wheel can be reinstalled. The wheel nut fits into a hex-shaped recess on the back of the height adjustment arm. You may have to rotate this arm to be able to hold this nut in place while getting the wheel bolt started. There's also a stepped washer that goes inside the plastic gear cover. Be sure to place this washer so that it's flush with the back side of the cover, that is, the side that faces the mower. Now just hold the cover in position, hold the wheel nut in its recess, and add the wheel and wheel bolt. Before tightening the bolt, check to make sure the cover is still in place and the stepped washer is centered in its hole in the cover. After replacing the transmission and belt cover, we're ready to fire it up and test the drive system. The brief smoking in this shot is due to a little oil seeping into the muffler or exhaust port while we had the back end elevated above the front. After nearly 30 years, this engine still has near zero oil consumption. Looks like the faithful old Toro is back in service. If you're doing a similar repair, please leave a note in the comment section and let us know how it went for you. Thanks for watching.